Now, directing our attention back onto the track here. Having a look there, we've got Grandpa Gary, got his nice shiny new livery on there. He's got the Ftwrc logo, absolutely lovely. He's got a YouTube channel of his own as well. As you can see advertised on the back there. No, I don't think he has. Yeah, he does. Grandpa Gary on YouTube, go and check him out. There's a few people as well. Last Taco Bender, another driver who will be streaming on his own channel. So if you want to pop along to his channel, the Last Taco Bender, very entertaining guy, very interesting sometimes. And then here we'll go Damo as well, Damo 39. He's a newcomer into the league. He's one that hasn't driven with this group before. He's got his hazards on, so he is pushing. Again, check out his YouTube account as well. We're all here to support each other. That's what it's all about. Eddie Catflap, go to his YouTube channel as well. To be honest, Eddie Catflap is absolutely hilarious, and he's a very good watch, and he's a very valued member of the team. Mia Skinner, as you can see there, YouTube at Mia Skinner has her own channel as well. Old Man Stew, very much the same. It's all worth checking it out. But this is where you want to be for the live commentary, as Eddie Catflap calls the hyperactive insanity. So now 5 minutes left of practice here. We've got Mihai coming round, and we'll remember that from the RGTR League, that almost burnt, rusty car look, classic. And then I'm looking at Grenster now. Grenster coming back out on the softs. And it looks like he's just nursing the car around the first few corners here. So could be looking to put in one flying lap at the end there, just to make a statement, just to see how fast he can go. He does currently still have the fastest lap of 2 minutes, 0.656. But as we see there, Mia Skinner going faster again. But now we do have Apache now out on the soft tyre as well. So on his out lap, he's got those hazards flashing. It's not going to be long until we see him putting his foot down. And this is what's going to be worth watching. We've got some absolutely wonderful quality drivers, some very high class drivers in here. But Grenster and Apache we know have had battles before, and they are entertaining. So we're going to have an onboard. We're going to ride on board here with Apache as he comes down the straight. So as he's coming up towards this first corner, it's a difficult one. The braking zone's not always very clear. You can afford to go late like that and just trail off. He's had to touch the brakes twice there. As he's coming, he's just going to clip this curb, and he's going to have to balance the car to get it ready to go. Weaving in and out. This bit's not about bravery, it's about rhythm. You want to be throwing the car one way to the next, but keeping the car balanced, otherwise you're going to have problems. It's just come off there. Maybe it's the pressure of the commentator, maybe it's the commentator's curse. I feel like it will not be though, because Apache's been here before and he set the fastest first sector. Now as he comes round, this is where people are going to want to be careful, because as I was going to say, you put a wheel on that grass and sometimes you can just be off. He's hit that curb nicely, and then as he clips here just before they go into the bridge, you don't want to run too wide because that AstroTurf is slippery. So again, fastest sector he's coming. He wants to be braking in a straight line here, just coming across, just clipping the apex now. Doesn't want to get too early on the power, but he's put that on nicely, and away he goes off rounds, turn 12. As we see Mia Skinner coming into the pits, we'll go back to Apache as he's coming around Spoon. So very, very tricky corner here. You want to get the power early, but again, going too wide there, that AstroTurf can make those back wheels spin out. And unless you're Max Verstappen, it's very difficult to pull off that 180 and keep going. But now, as he comes flying towards one of the fastest corners in the world, 130R, he's on the soft tyres. Is he going to nail this flat out? And he does, and he's kept his foot planted. That's exactly what I expect to see from Apache on the soft tyres. As he comes, he's going to want to just clip this corner, but not too much. Doesn't want to unsettle the car and make the bounce here. But what a wonderful lap this looks like it's going to be. As he comes around on the soft tyre, what time is it? Is it going to be a sub 2 minutes? Oh, it's not, but it's a 2.1. So that puts him fastest by 4 tenths. But as we skip back now, on board with Grenster. he's just lost a little bit of that traction there. He's just put the car to a little bit of a spin as he has there, but it looks like he's going to get the power down nicely. It's a good exit out of spoon as he comes flying down towards 130. And I can tell I can already tell the qualifying is going to be unbelievable just based off these practice laps. And Grenstad now with the fastest second sector time. That's brave going around there like that, and he's just kept it together. Let's see how much of this corner he takes. He takes a lot of it. And as he comes down across the line, it's 3/100ths. It's 3/100ths of a second slower than the time Apache put in. So that's the end of the 20-minute practice. If they're on a fast lap, can finish that lap. Old man Stu on an out lap. Too late. Sorry, 20 minutes. What a practice session that's been. Now let's see. Just quickly admin off. Lovely. So as practice comes to a close, that means only one thing. Quali. So who will it be to get pole position? A 5-minute qualification for the 10-lap sprint race. Are we going to see Apache on the front row? Are we going to see Grenstad take the pole position slot? Are we going to see Capitan Jinx up in second or first? Or was it going to be Old Man Stu? I can go through the list because everyone on it is capable. So we've got Mia first out on track, closely followed by Old Man Stu. From the past, we do know that Old Man Stu likes to be out on track first. As soon as the green lights come on in the pit lane, his foot's down. He doesn't like to have anyone in front of him. But I'm sure now he'll be pulling back because he won't want to give himself any excuses, because he's going to be wanting to put in the fastest lap he can right off the bat. It's only 5 minutes, so it's not going to be the longest qualifying. So you do really have to make every lap count. And as well, one thing the drivers can't do in the qualifying, once the drivers are out on track, they cannot skip and exit back to the pit lane. They must complete an in-lap. They must drive into the pits. It's fine in practice, but now qualifying's begun once the car's on track. If a driver skips and exits out pit lane, then that's the end of session for them. So the in-laps, out-laps really matter. You've got to make everything count. Now looking, just following Scooby coming through there. He's got a nice livery on there. Very shiny, catches the eye. Apache, accustomed to the bright green, almost lime liveries of Apache, sporting the pink, black and white number 29 livery for the league this year. I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of that. Grandpa Gary just leaving himself some space there as well. He doesn't want to be too close to the car in front as we come back through. But now we skip in front, and it looks so the first person to start a flying lap, the first flying qualifying lap of the Ftwrc, it's going to be Mia Skinner as she comes around the first corners. She's now keeping her very tight, very smooth. And it really is through that VS's, it's almost a dance with the car to keep it balanced, to shift away from one side to the other, but without losing that. And if you clip a curve just a bit too much and the weight comes off those wheels, the balance disappears, and now all of a sudden you've got a tank slapper, and that is a very difficult thing to remedy on a track like this. Now looking back, Old Man Stu is following through there now, so he won't be close enough to get any slipstream, but he is going to be close enough to worry if there is any issues ahead. But he's come through Degner, they did quite safe and not took too much curb, and then he's come round and he took a lot of curb there. But again, as he comes under the bridge, flying towards the hairpin, we can see in the background Scooby there, going a little bit wide but holding it together. Now Scooby comes up to the hairpin, keeps it in a straight line when he's braking. Technically very well done there. And the line he's just took through there, actually, there's times I look at that and think sometimes someone's just missed the apex, but there's a lot of drivers, especially, obviously I know the cars are different, a lot of Formula One where you look, and the optimal line for some people isn't right on that apex. It's to keep a little bit wide to the right because there's a little bit of a camber on the track. So you can get the car whipped around, but it does mean that you're also struggling for traction if you get your foot down too early. So it'll be interesting to see what top drivers are doing going round there and whether they're going to play it safe. Oh, man, Stu flying around 130 yard there. So as we skip forward now, on board with Mia Skinner, so we're going to have a look, see what her fastest lap is. The first qualifying time put in of the FTWRC, and it's a 2-2. And old man Stu goes in with a 2 minutes 1, a 2 minutes 1.7. That sets the benchmark so far. As looking back, Scooby as well. Oh, and Apache has just took 2 seconds off that time, and that is not something I would expect by that much. A 1:59.6 from Apache, and I thought old man Stu put a decent lap in there, but Apache just said no thanks, mate. But now, what we're going to look back on now, because he's on a fastest lap now, he's on his flying lap, we're on board with Grenster. Capitan Jinx going up to third place, putting himself second row of the grid. Grandpa Gary doing a 2 minutes 4 seconds 0.6. That's a very reasonable time there. But Mihai steps up to the plate. And now he's put himself in third position. In Mihai and Capitan Jinx on the second row. It's Apache and Old Man Stu as it stands at the minute. As we see, Grenster approaching 130R, absolutely nails that. Going flat out, this is possible. It's possible that this may challenge the lap of Apache. Looking the way Grenster's going, he's taken a lot of curve, but he's kept the car balanced just as I said would need to be done. And here he comes, sweeping around the last corner. What time are we going to see from Grenster here? Oh, it's half a second off Apache. I thought that was going to be a bit closer. Apache sitting on provisional pole position with a 1:59.6. The last time there was a race here, like I say, in the league, it was Grenster who took pole position just by a whisker, but it's Apache who's sitting on the front of the grid as it stands. Old Man Stu and Mihai, second row of the grid. Capitan Jinx followed Mia Skinner. So it is now the final lap for drivers. So what can we do? Is Mia on a fast lap here? What kind of time? Mia doesn't approve, but now. But as we skip back, we've got Eddie Catflap. Eddie Catflap thundering towards 130. Oh, what can he do here? He's just had Scooby skip above him. He's currently in 8th, and at the minute, Scooby in 7th is very, very closely behind Mia Skinner. So there's a good few positions. Demo is only a 10th, not even a 10th behind Eddie Catflap here. So these midfield places are really all to go for here. And Eddie Catflap stays where he is. So it will be Apache, the first pole position of the season in the sprint race in the FTWRC is taken by Apache, and he is the only one with a sub 2 minute time there, a 1 minute 59.6, closely followed by Grenster with a 2 minutes 0.1. Old Man Stu, Mihai, followed by Capitan Jinx, Mia. An excellent performance from Mia Skinner being her first time racing in here, and that was an excellent start to her FTWRC career, followed by Scooby, who's in the same boat. Eddie Catflap. Now, what we've noticed before is Eddie Catflap's got a habit of starting in 8th place, starting the race in reverse, dropping 5 or 6, and then getting back up to 8th. So although it doesn't look like he's improved, Eddie Catflap somehow can climb 5 places from the start, from 15th, however, never gain a position overall. Excellent. So now, straight into start the first sprint race of the season. It's going to be 10 laps of Suzuka. Weather forecast looks clear. Doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky. And what a lap that was from Apache to put himself on the front row of the grid. And here we are for the first time in the Ftwrc. It's a long hold on the line. And here we have the lights. And it's lights out and the race is on. It's an excellent start from Apache. Looking back through the grid here, we know that Grensta's got a good start, but Old Man Stew's pulled straight into the slipstream there. So I was looking back through the grid, Mihai with an excellent start, still in fourth. Capitan Jinx looking around the outside, but known better of it, and he's keeping it in tight. Old Man Stew now looking forward as well. It's already keeping it tight, and everyone's through the first few corners nice and cleanly. That's what we like to see. But out in front, it's Apache. We know from this time last season, in the last league that we had, that Apache, once he got out in front, he stayed out in front. So as we can see, Apache opting to start on the medium tyre. Grensta starting on the soft, so he's going for the soft tyres. So his tyres are going to wear out towards the end, but Apache knows that those soft tyres behind him are going to be difficult to keep behind. Old Man Stew doing the same. He's on the soft tyre. He's going to be pushing. Now Capitan Jinx all over the back of Mihai. Mihai was a little bit wide, but he's held it together. He's come back and he's just gone wide, and that gives the space. Oh, Capitan Jinx has come through now. Capitan Jinx is being followed through himself. And Mihai, that's dreadful. Mihai's lost 3 or 4 positions off the start. Mia Skinner slides up into the 5th place. And as well, tightly behind, we have Scooby. What a start to the race this has been already. As we look back, all these drivers are so tightly packed together. Damo now right in the slipstream of Eddie Catflap, who somehow is still in 8th position. That is wonderful. It's getting back through the front now, so Apache's still holding it out there, gets the power down, but Grensta is stuck to his bumper like glue, and with those soft tyres, his tyres are stuck to the road the same. But now Apache defending that inside line like his life depends on it, but he knows going into this corner, all it's going to take is one little slip if he goes too wide, and Grensta almost bumper to bumper, but Grensta's gone a little bit wide. He's managed to keep it together. He's back on the track, but that was a hairy moment for Grensta, especially when he knows Old Man Stew so closely following behind, with Mia a little bit of a gap, Capitan Jinx following in, Scooby, Mihai, Eddie Catflap, and the last tackle bender, followed by Grandpa Gary coming round there. And then Damo as well, and we'll have closely following them. They're just coming around, coming into Casio Triangle to make that last chicane. We have Chubby. But again, it is Apache still out in the lead at the minute. Pulling a little bit of a gap, not quite a second, 3/4 of a second now, but it's not getting any further. So Brent will be keeping a close eye on that, and the whole time, Old Man Stew, he's looking up ahead. He's waiting for the moves to be made by Grensta. He's waiting for the defense from Apache, because if that is the case, it's going to give Old Man Stew that opportunity to sneak in, and out of nowhere, we've seen it before, he can take those places when you least expect it. So it's going to be very exciting to see if he can close that gap and take any advantages he can if there is battling ahead. And looking back through now, 4th place, Mia doing a very good job of keeping that position, being very steady, very consistent. It's keeping that gap of about 3/4 of a second in front of Capitan Jinx. Again, Capitan Jinx, just coming back from his finals week, graduated at the weekend. Again, congratulations to you. Oh, look at that, he's showing off with a bit of a tail slide there in celebration. Wonderful stuff from Capitan Jinx here. Mihai following close behind. Now Mihai and Capitan Jinx, this is a battle we are all so familiar with. But now Eddie Catflap in the slipstream, that's not a battle we're familiar with, but he's got all the skills to do it. Let's see if he can catch speed going through Spoon. If he can get the power down early, he could be giving Mihai some problems here. And oh, the last tackle bender had a spin going into Spoon. It's a very difficult corner to navigate. He is on the soft tyres. They will slowly start to be wearing out. That gives Grandpa Gary the opportunity to now catch up with him as well. But the battle is still raging up in the front, and they're now side by side going down the pit lane. It's going side by side, and Grensta now looking on the outside. Apache's going to be defending this inside line well. Grensta's staying on the outside, but he's come across. That's excellent defending from Apache, but Grensta's still there. Grensta's still in the wing mirrors from left to right as they go through the S section here, and Old Man Stew seeing the entire thing unfold before him, and I'm sure he can't wait for any advantages to be taken if they provide themselves now. Capitan Jinx right on the tail of Mia Skinner. Now that we're in the 3rd lap, going through the S's, and Capitan Jinx has really given Mia something to think about here. It's a very tight line, need to do their Capitan Jinx, taking a lot of that curve, driving very aggressively, both on the medium tyres, so there's life in those tyres. They're not going to have to think about what's going to happen at the end of the race because their tyres will be all right. But then Eddie Catflap is really closing up on Mihai now. He's on the soft tyres, so he's going to be wanting to get a move on because those tyres aren't going to last forever. But if he can make it work and make them stick while he can, then it's going to be an advantage for him. But again, looking forward, Capitan Jinx is not giving Mia 1 second of rest here. As they're coming through the hairpin, Mihai now closing the gap in as well. It's now becoming a 3-horse race. Oh, but Mihai's had a spin. Mihai's gone round, and it gives Eddie Catflap the opportunity to move up into 6th place. And now that also gives Capitan Jinx a little bit of respite, knowing he doesn't have that intense pressure from behind. He can now focus his attention fully in front of him on Mia Skinner and try to make a move there. But that is so unfortunate from Mihai to have that spin. He's now going to have to try to get himself back in because he is now nearly 8 seconds adrift of Eddie Catflap. Now Apache 1.5 seconds is the lead now. So Brenster had that little flash in the pan, had that flurry where it made it look like he was going to make the move. But he's just rested back now. He knows he can't keep that up for the entire race because those tyres will just completely disappear. As we look, Old Man Stu now. Old Man Stu closing the gap on Brent Settle, 1 second behind. So as we go down the straight, we can see, and Capitan Jinx has picked up half a second penalty. So as we can see him coming flying down the straight in the slipstream of Mia, going into the first turn, he does have that half a second penalty, and I'm sure that'll help Mia to just breathe a little bit easier. Eddie Catflap now knows he has 8 seconds between him and Mihai behind, so he can focus on getting as much out of those tyres as he can. 2 seconds adrift of Capitan Jinx, 8 seconds ahead of Mihai. So as we've seen, this is the point in the race where Eddie Catflap's consistency keeps him there. He doesn't get himself in trouble, and it won't be long until we see him open up his picnic and have a cup of behind the wheel. But again, the battle that's raging here is Capitan Jinx because he is not letting up. And they're both on the medium tyre. Like I said, he does have that half a second penalty. So he's really, really going to be keeping as close as he can because he doesn't want that half a second penalty to drop him further back. As we can see, Eddie Catflap in the background. Eddie Catflap just holding it together there. I spoke about consistency and having a picnic. He shouldn't have took a drink while he was going around the corner. But he'll never learn. But as he comes round now, he still does have 5 seconds on Mihai. And it doesn't look like his tyres are taking too much of a beating, but now Mihai's aware of that. He's going to be pressing now. We know the medium tyres are in his car. They're not on Eddie Catflap's. So it'll only be a couple of laps before Mihai is going to be lapping faster than Eddie Catflap. So as you can see coming round, Capitan Jinx is just going to be serving this penalty as he comes down the straight, which means Mia now has the opportunity to really get a bit of a gap, to break that slipstream, to prevent Capitan Jinx from drawing any closer and get her head down and focus on the race at hand. But it's not by much because it's only gained half a second on Capitan Jinx. So we know Capitan Jinx has got pace to burn, and we know in the later stages of a race, Capitan Jinx is more than capable of catching up and pulling it back. So he is never out of the race. But now Eddie Catflap coming around Casio Triangle, he still has 4 seconds from Mihai behind, but we also know that Mihai can make up ground. It was a race in the RGTR League last year, which if you haven't seen, if you want to head over to where that was, it was on Rachel's GT Racing. It was where the platform actually began. It's where we found each other. And in that league, there was one race Mihai started last on the grid of 14 people. And by the end of the 5th lap, he was in the leading pack. So we know that Mihai can close these gaps. We know that it doesn't affect him to have early issues and early spins in the race. Now look about, we've got Grandpa Gary. 10 seconds adrift of Scooby, who's 4 seconds behind Mihai. So again, these are the positions, these are the parts of the race when these gaps start to form and when these spaces develop. It's really important. A lot of drivers will see what's going on and they'll think that they can take the foot off the gas. But it's more important now. They've got a chance to be consistent. They're not battling for corners. And as I've said that, I've cursed Gary because he's just got up, but he's held that together very well indeed. And as well, in the sprint races, it's the top 8 positions that are eligible for points. So Grandpa Gary at the minute being in 9th, he knows that if an opportunity arises, if something happens up ahead, he only needs to gain 1 position, and now he is a point scorer, so it really does matter. Damo right up on the tail of Chubby now, really closed the gap. Oh, Chubby's gone wide just as we look there, and that gives Damo an opportunity to switch back across to the inside as they come round in towards the hairpin. What an excellent move there. What a bit of opportunism. Just as Chubby just started to lose it, had to pull it back together, Damo was there, and like a sniper, just come on straight down the inside, switching back across, and that is a battle that's going to be raging on because those are both medium tyre battles. As we switch back now, moving up to the front, we've got Apache still out in the lead. He's still got that gap of a second. So Grenstar's not going anywhere, but Grenstar's tyres will be starting to fail him now because they are getting worn, because it is warm. Ooh, Apache's had a little bit of a slide there, but he's held that together as well. But Old Man Stu just dropped a little bit back there. He's got a half a second penalty to serve. He knows that there's 6 seconds between himself and Mia behind. So that half a second penalty isn't going to be enough for that gap to disappear, but he is aware that Mia is driving with a lot of consistency, and Capitan Jinx is finding it very difficult to close the gap on Mia. So he knows behind there is pace to burn, and Mia on the medium tyres means it's not going to be an easy task for Old Man Stu. In 2-3 laps time, when Old Man Stu might potentially have to be nursing those tyres, Mia isn't. Mia's going to have the foot down. Mia's going to be making the most of the life of those tyres, but Capitan Jinx is going to be doing the same thing behind her as he comes through now, following through the Degner curve as they head under the bridge towards the hairpin. Oh, and Mia Skinner's had a spin. Mia's gone under the bridge off, and that gives Eddie Catflap in the background now the opportunity to take that position. He's closing right in, and he's going around the outside. And what a change this has been in the blink of an eye. We can have such a change, and now Eddie Catflap up at the 5th position, and Mihai is now right on the tail of Mia, and this is exactly the excitement we come to see from these guys, because Mia now, having driven so well and so consistently, has to get that out of her head, has to pretend that that didn't happen and that the race is just going to continue. Those medium tyres still have life, but Mihai behind, as I've said, Mihai is an aficionado when it comes from coming back to front, so he is used to going past. He's one of the most technical yet aggressive overtakers on the field, and Mia's going to have eyes in the back of her head right now because Mihai is going to be all over the back as they go through 130R. There is only really one line through 130R there, so it is a tricky one to try to negotiate, but as they go through, now Eddie Catflap coming into Casio Triangle, he's got Mia right up behind him, and they're all taking a very good line there. Mihai takes a lot of curve in the hopes of catching up, and Mia's come in for the pits. Mia has pit Old Man Stu. Old Man Stu is pitted for the soft tyres. He's on the soft, and he doesn't think he can go the rest of the race on those tyres, so he's put some fresh softs on, and out comes Old Man Stu in 6th place now. So he's got Mihai 2 seconds ahead of him on the medium tyres. And I did not expect that, because now Grenstar, now be interested, is Grenstar going to nurse those tyres all the way, or is he going to cut his losses and come in? I've got a feeling he's going to be staying out, but Apache at the minute, he is now singing, he's whistling, because as he comes round the Degner curves, he's got life in his medium tyres, and he's got a 2-second buffer out in the front, and he currently has the fastest lap of 2 minutes 0.9. So this is an excellent start. Capitan Jinx now does have that space behind. Eddie Catflap 4th place, Mihai right behind him as it goes. So we're going to quickly go on board now with Mihai as he chases Eddie Catflap through the Degner curves as they come in, and Eddie takes a good line through there, very well keeping Mihai right behind. Now which way is he going to defend? Looks like he's going to stay to the left and defend the inside, but he's come across, and that is an excellent position there from Eddie Catflap, positioning his car wonderfully as we can see. But now Mihai with the cutback, as you can see side by side, there's Eddie Catflap in his car. He's put his coffee down because he is battling. He is side by side as you see them coming through there, and what a battle this is. But we can see in the background there, Old Man Stu's on the scene, and Mihai gets the place. He goes through Spoon now, and he's in front, and we've got Eddie Catflap tucking him behind. He's going to need to get good traction, because look what is behind you, Eddie. It is Old Man Stu on the freshest softs can be, and he is really pushing now, because he's wanting every single place that he just lost in that pit stop back, and there's a good chance he can get them if he uses those tyres properly. So looking back now, again, Mia's got onto the fresh soft. So there's a gap between her and Scooby of 11 seconds as Scooby comes round Casio Triangle. He's going to be staying out on those soft tyres. So those are now 7-lap-old soft tyres. So even though there's an 11-second gap between himself and Mir is on fresh soft. So over the next 3 laps, I would expect to see that gap coming down very, very quickly. And I can already tell that Mir is going to be one to watch in this evening. Old man Stu now, he's now clear of Eddie Catlap. He's now on the tail of Mihai. Mihai's medium tyres still got life in them, but they're nothing compared to fresh softs, and Old Man Stu knows that. He is going to be, and Old Man Stu's just set a fastest sector time there as well. Unbelievable. Old Man Stu has really come out fighting here. Now Capitan Jinx, third place for Capitan Jinx, 12 seconds adrift of Brenster, nearly 8 seconds ahead of Mihai. Just needs to make sure he can keep it. And this again, last season, this was a staple of the races. If there was a gap formed like this, Capitan Jinx would not lose time to people behind him. He would keep this position, and it was why time after time we've seen second place. Capitan Jinx has got the skills to do that. But has Mihai got the skills to keep Old Man Stu behind? We know that Mihai's attacking capabilities are phenomenal. We know that Mihai has the ability to go past drivers at will, but has he got the ability to keep Old Man Stu behind on tyres as fresh as this? And as we come round Spoon, as we see him on the straights, now this is where it counts. Less than 3/4 of a second behind is Old Man Stu as they come hurtling down to 130R. This is going to be crucial because Old Man Stu is going to be taking this flat out. Old Man Stu is not going to lift here, and he has to because of the dirty air. That is a very wise move, but that was at the end of a second consecutive fastest sector. Old Man Stu is absolutely flying. He's taking a lot of curve there, but he shouldn't risk a penalty because he just kept his wheels on the curve. As we see Eddie Catlap coming around Casio Triangle, and oh my word, Old Man Stu is now less than 4 tenths behind Mihai. So now as we go on board with Old Man Stu, we can see he's right in the slipstream of Mihai. Can he get close enough to make a change into this corner? I don't think he will, but Mihai knows. Mihai knows it's a matter of time now, and he's going to have to defend like a lion. Old Man Stu, 1/4 of a second behind now. Now Mihai, the way Mihai navigates the S's here is crucial. If he loses balance of the car, even the slightest bit, it's going to send him off, and it's going to give Old Man Stu the opportunity to either nip down the inside or go flying around the outside. I think Old Man Stu thought about the outside move there, thought better of it. He's going to nip. Then this is when both of them want to be very careful not to go too wide here. Mihai knows his tyres are starting to fail. And then look at that view, Old Man Stu right up behind there as they're coming through the Degner curve. And you can see he's looking down the inside, but he's not going to get it there. But he knows coming under the bridge, if he can get the run, and there it is. Look at the speed he's closing there, and look at the way that he's going up the inside. What a move that is by Old Man Stu. But now we've got the defence of Mihai, and it's the cutback. Oh, and there's contact, but they both managed to hold it together. This is unbelievable. Side by side, they go round turn 12, coming towards Spoon. What a battle this is. Mihai doing unbelievably to defend the way that he is on the tyres that he is, when Old Man Stu has fresh tyres, and Old Man Stu still hanging it round the outside, and Old Man Stu looking on the inside of Spoon. What a move that is. That is unbelievable driving from both Old Man Stu and Mihai to give him the space, but now Old Man Stu has Mihai in his slipstream. And this without the dirty air. Will Old Man Stu go through with the slightest of lip? But it looks like Mihai's looking down the inside. Mihai stuck his nose down the inside. Oh my word, Old Man Stu's going to have to give him that. He's going to have to let him go through there, otherwise they both would have been out of the race. That is bravery. That is boldness. That is borderline stupidity. What a move. So now, as we come into the last lap, it's Apache still in the lead. It's Grenster in second, Capitan Jinx, but the battle we're going to stay with for now, the battle we're going to continue for this final lap, it's Old Man Stu, and it is Mihai. And as we look backwards on board from under the bumper of Mihai, under the wing of Mihai, we can see the bumper of Old Man Stu getting ever closer, and all it's going to take is one little mistake from Mihai, and Old Man Stu's going to be in there. It might not even take a mistake. Old Man Stu threatening with every single move. There we go, his wheels right on the grass there. That's very dangerous, but it looks like. Let's have a look. Oh, he's gone wide, but he's kept it together. Very, very well done there by Old Man Stu to keep that together. Now Mihai defending the Degner curves, and that is a difficult thing to do and keep pace coming out of them. So now what we expect to see here is Old Man Stu picking up. Oh, look at the run he's got out of there, but he's always had a wobble. Oh, I thought he'd lost it. My heart was in my mouth for a moment there, and he's going to go, and that's good defended by Mihai, but it's not good enough. Old Man Stu has snuck down the inside. He has just threaded a needle. Oh my word. And now he is in the lead, and we've seen this before in the last lap of a race. Old Man Stu holding it, but we know that Mihai is one of the most competent overtakers in the field. And as we can see, Mihai looking down the inside. Mihai's looking down the inside. He's took it out. Oh, they've come together. Mihai's held it up there and he's flashing. Mihai knows he did something wrong. That's very, very fair by Mihai. He could have took the position. He could have pushed through. And Old Man Stu just closed the door at the time there. And that is unbelievable driving. But going through to the front, we have the first winner of the season. The winner of the sprint race is Apache, and followed round the final curve now with Grenster in second place, and then we have Capitan Jinx as well. He's just coming around, flashing his lights in excitement there. We've seen that before. Old Man Stu now, as he rounds the final corner. That battle with Mihai was unbelievable. The lights are flashing for Old Man Stu as well. What a race that is. And that battle between him and Mihai, that is the stuff of legend. As Eddie Cathcart comes round, he's managed to keep that sixth place, considering his tyres are almost gone. And I was right. Mia did close that gap up in only one more lap, and that gap would have completely disappeared. But Eddie Cathcart doing a wonderful job of nursing those tyres in the state that they are to keep that position. And then Scooby coming in behind for his first sprint race of the FTWRC and the last points position, which means as Damo crosses the line, as Grandpa Gary then comes up towards 130R, he's 23 seconds ahead of Chubby, who is then coming round, and he's now less than 10 seconds ahead of the last tackle bender, who's coming round again. The first appearance, as you can see, the FTW Racing Championship memorabilia, decals on the car, a great sport. And there we go, Grandpa Gary crossing the line as well, showing the Race League Championship decals with pride. What an opening that was to the FTWRC. And oh my word, Old Man Stu and Mihai. My heart cannot take racing like that all of the time. So now and again, that would be great, but unbelievable racing. And as well, for Old Man Stu to come in for soft in a sprint race where a pit stop's not mandatory, to have the confidence to be able to drop in, do it, come straight back out and get back on with it. That is unbelievable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a replay of that last lap while we'll have a little break. It's 6 minutes past 8. Quarter past. That's 15 minutes past. We're going to start qualifying. I can't play the replay, of course I can't without leaving. No. So I'm just going to sit on board. So yeah, quarter past, bang on, qualifying will start. So if you want to get yourself a drink, get yourself some popcorn, because if that's anything to go by, you're not going to want to get up throughout this race. Absolutely unbelievable start of the season. So we'll be back in 7 minutes for the 10-minute qualifying for the first full race of the season. We have an update from race control. That's an update from race control. Qualifying will commence at 2020. That's just over 11 minutes. That's 10 minutes for everyone to refresh, regroup, get back into the racing. 2020. See you then. And yeah, that is another rule just to make everyone watching away. In this time, this downtime, there isn't anyone to be on track, any more practicing. The only on track time left is qualifying, and it's the race. Woo! Right. So as I just assault microphone again. So yeah, just a little break, just a reminder for everyone, as much as all the racing's fun, it's exciting and everything, underneath it all, like I said in the description, we are trying our best to raise money for charity here as well. Mind Charity for Mental Health, as well as Macmillan Cancer Support. So there is a GoFundMe, there's a link in the description. We do have a target of £500 to hit by the 30th of June, which coincides with the final race of the season. So even then, it's just going to add to the excitement. Hopefully we'll get there, because that'll mean £250 for Mind, £250 for Macmillan Cancer Support. So it would be a great help if anyone could get involved and do what they can. And another reminder for those watching now, there is going to be a slight change in settings when it comes to the full race, because that was light damage. However, now in the full race, it is going to be heavy damage. So any damage that's picked up by the drivers won't repair itself. They will have to pit to make those changes. So if there is any damage, we could just see an alteration on the fly to a pit strategy. We would see someone change the tyres. They might not to lose time, or if it happens to someone who's already finished their last pit stop, that could mean up to a minute of race time that they're going to lose out. So it's really important now. But as you've seen from that first race, very little contact between drivers, and when there is, it's been slight and it's been fair. There has been a couple of spins, but even then, been very few real issues. No one's gone absolutely smashed into a barrier, flipped over 3 times, because it's a game in which that can't happen. However, regardless, that is going to be the change in this race. There is going to be heavy damage. So while we're waiting there, so we've got 2 minutes to change the settings. So it's going to be 30 laps of Suzuka, so it's going to be 3 times longer, as usually are. Just a quick go through some of the settings here for those watching and people involved as well. So as always, we have balance performance on. Downforce and brake balance can be altered, nothing else. And yes, that means if you want to change your aero, you can. Boost off real slipstream. So not only do you get pulled along, dirty air is very much a thing. Tire wear rate remains the same. Fuel consumption rate remains the same, but that does mean 69 litres of fuel, not a full tank. A full tank on one would get you all the way. This won't quite. A required tyre type change, so no matter what tyres you start on, you have to change to a different one, but you do not have to use all of the tyres available. You just have to use 2 different tyre sets. So no one should be out on track at the minute. That means you, Stu. As we see, old man Stu creeping back into the pit lane there. He's managed to get it in reverse, and as he goes back in there, he's going to just enter the slipstream again. And that is a fantastic reversing manoeuvre there from old man Stu. And he's been reset onto the track. So that's a shame. So now we just wait for everyone to ready up. So we just need Demo and Last Tackle Bender to ready up, and then we will be ready to get the first full qualifying session of the Ftwrc underway. And now it's just tackle. No need for apologies. No need for apologies. And just for anyone watching who's interested, I did just spend that 10 minutes taking enough breath to last the rest of the hour. So I'm all good. Don't worry about my breathing. Yeah, silly you, Stu. It's perfect. So if everyone can hear me on stream, everyone's readied up in the race. It's time to get the very first qualifying session of the season underway. Oh, wait, I don't want to be in the race. That's what I meant to do. So yeah, good luck. I know I don't need to say it. If everyone give each other space in qualifying, if someone's coming up from behind faster and they've got the hazards on, you know that means they're doing a fast lap. So don't impede. Penalties will be given for impeding. Oh, and look who's first out on track. And that is the reason old man Stu jumped the gun and came out in practice, because he wanted to be the first one and he knew that everyone else knows that. But he does have a nice gap in front of him. Mia also fresh out. I would imagine Mia was probably further back in the pit lane, because I could tell chomping at the bit to get out as well. And then we've got Demo, and then Capitan Jinx just warming the tyres up. Grandpa Gary and Eddie Cathlock holding hands as per usual, followed by Apache, who's just warming them tyres up, getting them ready. Again, so, and as with the rules of the qualifying, drivers who want to come back into the pits do have to complete an in-lap. They can't quit back out. So with it being a 10-minute qualifying session, with it being 10 minutes qualifying, if someone did want to change tyres, they've got to come back in. And as we've seen from the soft tyre already, no one's going to be wanting to be trying to put in a fast lap after 10 minutes on the same set of softs, and no one's going to be coming out on hards. So old man Stu will go on board with old man Stewart first. We've got him coming towards 130R. Plenty space behind. Mia coming up, not going to be getting too close there. Plenty gap behind. So Mia herself is in a good place here, as long as she's not going to be coming up too fast, because old man Stu now is just going to be easing it round. We'll see the hazard flashing lights come on to make sure everyone knows it's a fast lap. At the start, the first flying lap of qualifying, old man Stu, and here he goes, closely followed by Mia Skinner, more than a couple of seconds behind, so it's not going to cause any problems. Behind there, we've got Scooby Demo now as well. He's just coming across the line. Capitan Jinx, Grandpa Gary. So all the cars very spread out here, which is what we want to see. A lot of space between everyone as we flick through the grid. And last to come out is Mihai. As he comes around Spoon, just easing it round, doesn't want to put any unnecessary pressure into the tyres, not at this stage. And it looks like last Taco Bender's pitted already. He's done one out lap, he's come back into the pits. Let's see what's happening there. But as we skip forward, and I'll probably make everyone a bit sick by how quick I just did that, apologies. For old man Stu now. And as we just look back over the back wing of old man Stu, we can see the Ftwrc logo at the bottom there. More than just racing, and that's more than just a slogan, because like I said, we are not just racing for victories, we're not just racing for points, we're racing to get money, we're racing for charity, we're racing for each other. Now on board with old man Stu as he comes up there. Very brave the way he's just took that as he comes into Casio Triangle. Not being too greedy with the curb there, not knowing that he didn't want to spoil it. A decent lap. He did have a little bit of a wobble going through Spoon, so that car would have lost him half a second or so. And the first lap is a 2-2. Now Mia right behind. Mia less than 2 tenths behind. And then Capitan Jinx puts himself on the provisional pole with 2 minutes 1.9. That's a good lap from Capitan Jinx. But as we look back, Grandpa, and Apache takes 1.7 seconds out of Capitan Jinx time and puts himself on provisional pole. But now, as you can see, it's Grenster who I'm looking back to see, because Grenster is on a lap. And it looks like he's back out of that lap, has he? Yeah, as he comes into the pit. So picking his times, making sure that he's not wasting any of the time. He's got 5 minutes left. He's coming in. He's going to put some softs on. He's got to get his outlap done. And he's going to be doing everything he can to put himself on the front row of the grid, if not on pole position. It was, like I said, last year, Grenster who was on pole position, and unfortunately losing the position to Apache at the start, that cost him the race. Can he get himself back on pole position today? Mihai now going out the second row. Mihai with a 2 minutes 2. Scooby sets his best sector time as he comes around the hairpin, and that's the line I was talking about that he just took there, going in a little bit wider to pick up the speed for a quicker exit. Oh, Grandpa Gary just moved out of the way. That was some good synchronization there. I thought there might have been an accident, but with heavy damage, that's not what we want to see. But Gary did well there, navigating the corners as well as the other drivers. Not an easy thing to do. Now Eddie Catlap currently in 7th place. He won't be close enough to the car in front of him picking up a slipstream, but he has put his best sector time in. And Mia Skinner puts herself onto the front row of the grid. Mia now 2nd place on the grid, and Capitan Jinx takes it straight back. What a move that was. Capitan Jinx puts himself on the front row, a 2:1.3. Apache's into the pits now. He's going to have time for an outlap, as is Old Man Stew. Eddie Catlap putting in a good time there. But Scooby putting in a better one. Now Mihai's coming up behind the last tackle bender, who really needs to be moving out of the way here, but he's on a fast lap himself. But Mihai's just got the better traction, and that's an unfortunate coming together of the cars there. But Mihai does have time. So now Apache back out. He's got a 3-second penalty for the pit lane. Oh, but it should be all right. He'll serve that on his outlap, so that shouldn't be an issue when it comes to his fast lap. It is something people need to be aware of, is those penalties on the pit lanes are strict. Whether it's going in or coming out, you want to be very careful with that. Now Mihai going third, going up to third, even though he had that little moment where he had to slow down and navigate his way around. That could have been a time far beyond what it is, but to be in third, that's an excellent lap. So, and as we're going back through, again, there is one driver I'm looking for here, and it's Grenster. He's just started his flying lap now, so we're going to sit on board with Grenster and see how close he can get to Apache's time, and Capitan Jinx, and Mihai, because the times at the top there are so competitive. And as well, like I said, Mia Skinner really, really doing herself proud, really putting a stamp on the qualifying session as well as the sprint race so far, showing that she is going to be one to be reckoned with. Now, Grenster getting really early on the power, then you can hear the wheels spinning, and he's put in the best first sector, and now he's going to be flying now. There is a car up ahead as he comes from the Dunlop curve. As we come into Degner, and who's that? Who's gone wide? Who's that? Don't come back on the track. Oh, ho, ho. And that is absolutely, unfortunately, a terrible rejoin there. Grenster coming round, faster sector, and then absolutely poleaxed last tackle bender, unfortunately. Oh, I don't know what to say. Me not knowing what to say. Wow, speechless. It's unfortunate. These things do happen in racing, but these are the kind of things where, by no stretch of the imagination, I would say that it would be Grenster's fault, but that's why sometimes you've got to take that into consideration, and maybe you bank a lap at the start just to get yourself somewhere, because now that's what Apache did. He's got himself 1.2 seconds on provisional pole, but now he has a final chance. Oh, he's nearly lost it going into T1. So on board now with Capitan Jinx. As Capitan is currently on the front row, second place, as coming at the spoon. Nice and easy through there. As you can see, getting the power down. Oh, a little bit wide, getting the wheels just on that AstroTurf. Like I said, sometimes all it takes is half a wheel too far onto that, and that could be the end, especially with this damage module on now. This is crucial. So now on board with Capitan Jinx. What can Capitan Jinx do? Can he get closer to Apache? Can he actually take the space off Apache? As he comes round, no, he's must have been something went wrong during the lap there. Did surpass it, but then just pulled out of it at the end there. Mihai. So as it looks, Scooby now coming around the final corner. What is Scooby's time going to be here? Flashing lights. Stays fifth position. Old Man Stu coming across the line. Old Man Stu's going to the front of the grid. Old Man Stu's just put in a wonderful time there. He's still a second off Apache, but Old Man Stu's just put himself on the front row. Oh my word, but here comes Apache. Can he improve on his time? Oh, he can! What a performance that is from Apache, but Old Man Stu, where did he come from? From sixth on the grid, crosses the line right at the end there to put himself on into second place, the front row. What a performance that is. Capitan Jinx, followed by Mihai. That's a very, very strong start of the race. Mia Skinner with a wonderful time. When we look at the top times there, when you look between all of them, there's 3/10 from second to fifth. There's 3/10. So Mia Skinner 3/10 off being second, but is in fifth. That's how close the front of this grid really is. And then when we look further behind, when you look at the times between Scooby, Damo, Eddie, there's only a second between them as well. So that's an excellent start. But I've got to say the talking point of the qualifying session today, it's that incident with Grenster. So we're going to have Grenster, one of the quickest drivers on the track, and he's going to be starting at the back. So he's going to be looking to make waves from the very start. So everyone's going to have the eyes in the back of their head. But I think that will take a little bit of the pressure off Apache to begin with, a little bit of the pressure off Old Man Stu and Capitan Jinx, knowing that they now have a chance to put their head down and away they go. And there, because of that unfortunate issue there with Apache disconnecting, we'll just have to reset up the grid, obviously put it in a custom order so everyone will be in the same position. So we'll just have to end this, and then obviously no one go out and practice. So then I'll just quickly pause the stream. I don't know exactly where everyone was. Okay. Just everyone at home, if you just want to bear with a second. Got a few little technical issues to iron out. One thing I do want to check as well is nope, so I'm just going to mute myself for uno momento. I'm just going to sort something out and then get this all realigned. So yeah, just bear with us 2 seconds. We've had a disconnect from Chubby and a bit of an issue with Apache getting back in. So I'm going to have to resort out the grid and just see if we can get Chubby back as well. So just sit tight, and I'm going to take a few breaths. Right, so just wait for Old Man Stew and Last Techo Bender to ready up, and then I can adjust the grid order, but I won't be able to adjust it till you're in. Beautiful. Let's go back so I can actually make sure that the grid's correct. Always helps. Pretty sure that is all correct. Double check the settings as well, so there's no auto correct going off the track or anything like that. Heavy damage. So if we're all ready to go, then it's time for the first 30 laps Suzuka round one, the Ftwrc. Good luck. And here we are, the first race of the season. Capitan Jinx flashing them lights, getting ready to go. And lights out, and away they go. And that was a long hold for the red lights there. It's an excellent getaway from Capitan Jinx, right up on the tail of Old Man Stew to begin with. Mihai staying on the inside. You can see a bit of dustman from behind. Old Man Stew looked down the inside, thought better of it. We've got Mia now holding the fifth position, coming round. Scooby tucking in behind. Behind Scooby, we've got Eddie Catflap, Demo, and Grenster already making 2 places. But he's just lost another place there to Demo, but he's staying on the outside. It's going to be very interesting to see Grenster coming through the grid. And Mihai's off. Oh, Mihai's off, and I didn't see what happened there. He doesn't have any damage, so he's all right, but he has. And that's put him right down to the end. But like I said, we've seen Mihai come from the back of the grid and be at the front within 5 laps. So we'll see how that goes. Old Man Stew holding the second place. He started on the mediums and seen as Apache. But on the soft is Mia, and that's why she's gaining places. That's why Mia's up 2 places already on those soft tires, making it work. Capitan Jinx on the hard tire. Capitan's going to be looking towards the end of the race, thinking about the future. But for now, Mia is in the driving seat because she's going to be closing the gap on Old Man Stew, and he's going to be knowing that from behind the grip is better. Going back there, Scooby on the medium tyre as well as Demo, taking a nice tight line through there, but he's got Grenster right behind, and Grenster's on the hard tyre. Grenster's staying out on that track as long as he can, and he's going to pick his way through the field, and then when it comes to the crunch, towards the end of the race, he's going to have the softer rubber, he's going to have the more grip, and he is a tactician. There was a reason in the first league he got coined the Surgeon, because with surgical precision he carves his way through, and that's him. That's Grenster into 6th place already on the hard tyre. What a beginning of the race. Demo just goes a little bit wide, it's fighting it. But then as we go back through to the front, Apache 1.2 ahead. Then we've got Old Man Stew, Mia, and Capitan Jinx all staying very close together now. But what happened with Mihai at the start, I didn't catch it there. I didn't see it on the broadcast, but we're going to have to go back and look at that because that is such a shame for Mihai putting in such a good qualifying lap there. Now Grenster in 6th. He's now bearing down on Scooby in front of him. And Scooby closing in on Capitan Jinx. Capitan Jinx, as you can see, just coming down there. And Capitan Jinx holding his position. But the gap is closing now. Grenster is closing, and it's only going to take. And if he can navigate the S's well enough here, he's just lost it a little bit. But Scooby's got a bit wide, so Grenster's going to be licking his lips. Grenster's going to see an opportunity in the next one. But Scooby knows that Grenster's behind, but he also knows that he's on the hard tyre. So Scooby now, eyes in the back of his head, because Grenster is going to be trying to make moves. But you can see Eddie Catflap as well, just behind Grenster. Now, what a move it would be for Eddie Catflap if he could take opportunities here and take a position off Grenster. That is a feather in the cap. But looking ahead now as well, Capitan Jinx keeping the position. All the positions at the front now, there's nearly a 4-second lead from Apache. But Mia Skinner, I'm not sure what happened with Old Man Stew there. I don't know if it was just a clean, whatever. Mia Skinner up in 2nd place already in her first race of the Ftwrc, making those soft tyres work. As we come back, Old Man Stew, followed by Capitan Jinx, very closely followed by Scooby, who's got Grenster breathing down his neck. Damo's got Mihai. Mihai up to 8th place already. He is an absolute master at coming through the field, is Mihai. He's on the medium tyres, and he's got Damo in his sights. Damo on the medium tyres as well, so he's going to be wanting to defend. He's not going to be wanting to lose that place, and he's not going to be wanting to lose too much time, because who's up in front of him? Grenster, and he is beginning to pull away, and he is less than a second behind Scooby, and Scooby's making a move on Capitan Jinx, and Capitan Jinx just gets the power down early enough and stays ahead. But now coming into 130R, we're on board now with Scooby. You can see Capitan Jinx. This is hairy stuff, and he's just backing out of the throttle there, playing it safe. There's no need to go for anything crazy at this point in the race. And when we look back, he's gone wide, and Grenster slides through. Grenster now up into 5th place, already from the back of the grid. As he comes round Casio Triangle, and that also means Scooby now has Damo on his tail, and Capitan Jinx has had a wobble. This is all falling into the hands of Grenster here. He is in 5th, and he is right at the stiff end of Capitan Jinx. And at the end of the 3rd lap, sorry, the 2nd lap, we're now on the 3rd lap, and Grenster has made his way 2/3 through the field, and he's now pressing Capitan Jinx. It's the battle of the hard tyres right now. And Capitan Jinx is really pushing, and you can see with every corner, Grenster's just a little bit later on the brakes. There he goes again. He's very brave around these sectors, Grenster. It was his downfall in the first race in the RGTR League, but he's learned his lesson this time, and he is following the line a lot better than Eddie Carflap who follow the lines, because he often crosses them. But hey, when you're not used to using crayons, you cannot blame him. But as I see now on board with Grenster, you can see every time Capitan Jinx enters a braking zone, Grenster closes up the concertina, and that's a very defensive move straight away by Capitan Jinx, losing a bit of grip there, but now Grenster right on it. Oh, and Capitan Jinx has gone wide. Capitan Jinx has gone wide. Oh, and who can get the power down? It's Grenster. It's Capitan Jinx. What a battle this is. As we look across, we can see the helmet there on Capitan Jinx, just as he manages to stay in the lead, having the inside line. And looking behind, Scooby can see this all unfold ahead of him. He thinks that there's something he can steal here, because they're going side by side through Spoon, and Capitan Jinx has got a little bit wide, and Grenster goes up the inside, and Scooby is licking his lips, because now Scooby's bumper to bumper with Capitan Jinx coming down the back straight. What an opening few laps for the race this is, and what an opportunity this is now giving Scooby PCM, as he is bumper to bumper with Capitan Jinx. He's doing a little nudge, and he's just backing out there. He doesn't want to go too heavy in to 130R, but he does have the tyre advantage over both cars in front of him. But Grenster now is going to be wanting to look and keep that precision, keep those racing lines, because he does not want to get that gap closed in on. Oh, Capitan Jinx has took a lot of that curve there, had a bit of a wobble, but it's now settled back, and there is that half a second penalty. I didn't want to jinx it, but I thought it was coming. So now just skipping through to the front of the race. Now we've got Apache almost 5 seconds ahead in the lead now on the medium tyre. So he's going to be making them last as long as he can. And we know that Apache can talk to his tyres. He's a tyre whisperer. He can make them last if he wants to. And with a 5-second buffer over Mia Skinner, that's it up. But Mia 2.5 seconds ahead of Old Man Stu. Now, what a performance this is from Mia so far, as she sets her fastest sector time. Unbelievable debut introduction to the group here. Really putting herself into a good light. Now her Old Man Stu is looking to just keep that gap. But he also knows that the person behind him now in 4th place is none other than his rival, the old adversary from last season. It's Grenster. And Grenster now half a second ahead of Capitan Jinx, who has a half a second penalty. And that half a second penalty does mean that that man that you can see in the rear there, Scooby, is going to be closing right in. But just behind him, Damo is doing the same thing. Now see, Grandpa Gary, Eddie Carflap still holding hands, but Eddie Carflap's wanting to break away. Yeah, Grandpa Gary's trying to run away like a child in the park, and Eddie Carflap's reeling him in, not going anywhere, Gary. Eddie's still there, Eddie's still pushing, and this looks like it's going to be a battle to form over that, both on the medium tyre, so they're both going on very similar pit strategies. So it comes down to who can keep control of the car, who can keep control of the tyres, and who can keep control of themselves, because neither of them are very good at it usually. But I'm sure they're going to try, because Mihai 11 seconds behind now, but he is closing that gap, and I'm not sure what's happened. Oh, I was going to say I'm not sure what happened. That tackle bender has picked up damage, and that is why he's dropped so far from the back of the pack. It's going to be very difficult to keep that. But with it being on the medium tyres, it would be a very, very, very hard task to make hard tyres last 25 laps in these conditions. But actually looking at it, that damage must have occurred after the pit stop, or didn't repair the damage in the pit stop, because that tackle bender is fueled up. Now we're right on board with Eddie Carflap again now, so we can see Grandpa Gary in his sights. He's less than a second behind now as they come through the S's. Grandpa Gary taking a very neat line there, taking a lot of curve there, but he's managed to keep it together, and he is going through nicely, but Eddie Carflap isn't letting them get away. Eddie Carflap now, still less than a second. That 9/10 has dropped out to 8/10. And Grandpa Gary's going to have eyes in the back of his head, because we know what Eddie Catlap's like. If he gets a chance to bite at the ankles, he will bite at the ankles. And as they come towards Degner's now, so he takes it. And Grandpa Gary's got a little bit wide. Grandpa Gary's got a little bit wide. And he's spun it on the apex. And he's going to have to be very careful not to hit him there. He's just gone through. And that is unbelievable. And they have switched positions. And now it's Grandpa Gary who's on the charge, who's going to have to catch up. There's no damage to either car, but it does. Oh, Eddie Catlap's gone wide, though. He's feeling the pressure of the position already as Grandpa Gary now gets on the power. Now it's Grandpa Gary who's just less than a second behind, and this battle is unfolding. Eddie Catlap scampering away into the night like the cat that he is, but Grandpa Gary reining him in. Now we're going with Damo. You can see up ahead of Damo there, we've got Scooby closing on the Capitan Jinx. As they go hurtling round 130R. Very brave Damo takes through there. Very good line, and he is closing in on Scooby now. What a run through 130R he just got, and he has really closed the gap on Scooby now, and if he can get the power down nicely here, he really stands a chance of being within striking distance by the end of this lap, because once Scooby closes in on Capitan Jinx, he's going to be slowing down. Capitan Jinx is going to be defending, keeping behind, and Damo's going to be able to squeeze up and close that gap, and it's going to be, oh, we've got a yellow flag. We've got a yellow flag. No, the yellow flag's gone. Panic. Oh, my word, panic. But now Grenstead fourth place. Oh, hang on a second. Apache's down into third. There's no damage, but there was a yellow flag. Has Apache spun? Did Apache come off the track then? Because Old Man Stew's up in a second. And Mia Skinner in her very first FTW RC race is in the lead, and she's nearly 4 seconds clear of Old Man Stew. As you come down the Degner's, there is the very unfortunate last tackle bender in front with the damage that he picked up having to pit. And these tyres aren't going to last too much longer for Mia Skinner, but she's used them well because she's got them tyres into the front of the grid. What a start that is. But what happened with Apache? The previous lap was the fastest lap of the race. Had he just got into turn one a little bit too quickly? Did he have a bit of a spin there? Or was it through contact with someone? I feel like he was probably too far ahead still to be contact. So it'll be interesting to see that back. But now Old Man Stew knows that Apache can smell blood, and Old Man Stew knows that even though he was the second fastest on the grid at the start of the race, the only man who finished ahead of him in qualifying is the man directly behind him. As they now come down the straight, they've got the last tackle bender in front, who is about to be lapped, but he'll be getting the blue flag, so he's coming off to the side. That's very well done there from the last tackle bender. Made it very easy for the two drivers to get straight past there. That is fair, clean racing. And now as they come hurting towards 130R, oh, there was the tiniest of lift there from Apache on the medium tyres, and he's just gone absolutely flying round there. And now he's right up on the tail of Old Man Stew, and Old Man Stew can smell the tyres burning behind him. What an unbelievable start of the race. Now as we're on board with Old Man Stew, looking backwards, through the rear, under the wing, and there he is. There's Apache. And Apache very late on the brakes, and he's gone wide a little bit, but he's held it. Oh, he's had a wobble, but he's held it together. But he's came right back up because of Old Man Stew. Just had to get out of the throttle a little bit as well to make sure he kept the balance of the car, which is so important going through this SS stage here. One little mistake, it knocks you out of line for the next one, knocks you out of line for the next one, and before you know it, you're facing backwards down the Dunlop curve. No one wants that. But now Apache really pressing up now, right up behind Old Man Stew. And Old Man Stew's going to be defended for his life because they're both on the medium tyre. There's no tyre advantage right now. And they've gone through Degner's quickly there. And he's gone down the inside of the Degner. He's gone down the inside of the second Degner. Oh my word. Apache has just pulled off a move of the race so far. And that could be the move of the race. Completely. I cannot believe Apache's just done that. And well played to Old Man Stew for giving him that space, for recognising the danger and allowing it to happen without putting up too much of a threat, because that was unbelievable by Apache. And now he's got that clean air. He's going to be hunting down Mia Skinner. And Mia Skinner, she's never driven with Apache. She needs to start looking in the mirrors now, because oh my word, this is really, really heating up. Now looking back a little further, Grenstead just going down the straight now towards 130R. Capitan Jinx following him. Damo is ahead of Scooby now. Eddie Catlap 3/10 behind me high as it stands. So he has let Grandpa Gary get a little bit away from him there. Now Mia Skinner, Mia coming into the pits. And that gives Grenster back the lead of the race. And you can see there in the back, Old Man Stu. But Old Man Stu, Apache's managed to get 1.6 seconds ahead of him already. This is an unbelievable performance from Apache, this. I know he's a good driver, but my word, what has he had for breakfast? But now, with that pit from Mia, that means, guess who's in third place? Guess who's on the podium already? You don't need to, because we're already looking at him as Grenster. And Grenster's come from the back of the grid in less than 10 laps to be in third place. And he's looking after them hard tyres well, because they are beginning to wear. But he's got so much, got more than twice the life left in them. So it's going to be really interesting to see if he can close up any gap. But Old Man Stu is going to be absolutely hammering it as he comes round here, as he comes round Dunlop Curve, up towards now, as he comes into the Degners. He's going to be getting flashbacks, PTSD. Oh my word, that was the kind of move he pulls off. Where did Apache come from? But Apache's still 2 seconds in the lead now, so Apache just needs to make sure no mistakes creep in, and he should be all right for now at least. But we know Old Man Stu has a habit of doing things he's not expected to do. And he will be coming back, and he's actually closing up the gap now. He's actually pushing so hard, that gap is dropping slightly. Which is also a benefit, because it means that gap between himself and Grenster's not getting any lower as well. I said that, it's just suddenly starting to drop as Old Man Stu goes into Spoon. You can see Apache up ahead, launching his car foot down, all the way down that straight now, coming up towards 130 off. So we're going to see, we're right up on first with Apache. As he's coming toward worn medium tyres, it would be a bit reckless to go around here flat out. Oh, he's done it anyway! He's done it anyway! Apache, you're mental! Wow, what a performance this is! So now we've got Old Man Stu now 2.5 seconds behind, and it just goes to show how much time is there to gain. If you go through 130 off flat out, there was half a second that he gained from doing that. And Old Man Stu did not go through there slowly. Old Man Stu didn't exactly touch a brake or anything. That is just absolute masterclass of how to drive by Apache. Unbelievable. Now looking back through the grid, drivers are starting to spread out a little bit now. Eddie Catlap is a 1.5 seconds behind me high, but what's happened to Grandpa Gary? Because Grandpa Gary now, it hasn't picked up any damage, but now 16 seconds behind Eddie Catlap. And I told you that this was potentially going to happen, that they are going to be switching positions all race. As and last tackle bender coming in as well. I think last tackle bender might have been playing bumper cars, but he's been very unfortunate this race, having to pit again already. Oh, just skip forward to Apache there, seen a little bit of a slide, but somehow he's extended the gap by a second. And to look as well, Old Man Stu is putting in some brilliant times here. The gap between him and Grenster is actually very slightly increasing over time, yet Apache is still pulling away. This is absolutely phenomenal driving by these front three, and this is a position we are not used to seeing Grenster in either. Even though he's starting at the back, and it's amazing for him to be up where he is, we are used to seeing Grenster well out in front. And the way it is, yes, there's a tyre offset, but Old Man Stu's holding his own, and Apache's just in a world of his own at the minute, I think. But as we look back, Capitan Jinx, he's putting in some very consistent times as well. He's on the hard tyres, just like Grenster. So they're going to be looking on a similar pit strategy, but Capitan Jinx has been pushing his tyres a little bit more than what Grenster has, despite Grenster putting in some excellent times as well. What a race this is, and we are only a third of the way through. Now looking back, we've got Mia. Now Mia's right on the tail of Scooby PCM now, and Scooby on them worn mediums, but Mia's got fresh medium tyres. So Mia really has the advantage now, and Scooby knows it. So looking back now from the rear view of Scooby, is Mia going to make a move? She's late on the brakes, but thinks better of it. It wasn't quite close enough. Just unbalances it, but now going through the S's. Looking back, we can see how close Mia's getting to Scooby now, and Scooby's tyres are starting to go. And it will be interesting to see how much of a defence he puts up or whether he just cuts his losses. But keeping Mia behind for as long as he can, that's going to wear her tyres down and could benefit him more in the long run. Or it may slow him down too much to close the gap when he does change his tyres, because as they now come round, a slight lift as they come out of the Dunlop curve, as they head up to the Degners, and Mia's right, bumper to bumper. Mia now less than 2/10. As they come round, is Mia going to be going for a move at the Degners? No, thinks better of it, and that's wise. But Scooby's got that's a brave entry from Scooby. I think Mia's move there has put a thought into Scooby's head, and it made him think he had to brake later than he had. But now Mia is taking advantage of that, because as we look, that's very good defending from Scooby there. But Mia now taking the wide line. Can she get the old switcheroo? No. Scooby takes a very tight defensive line there. Very good driving. As we look back, Mia now really closing in. As we go towards Spoon, 2 corners, not very easy to make a move on. Not always recommended, but we've seen worse, we've seen better. Now comes round Scooby. He's gone wide, Scooby's gone wide, and he's given Mia Skinner the opportunity there. Scooby's tyres were just not quite up to it, and that was very clever driving from Mia, because she, even though she threatened to go past, she just planted the seed into Scooby's mind and waited for the opportunity for him to give her the position. That is high-level problem solving in real time. Very well done, Mia Skinner. What a performance you're putting on so far. Speaking of performances, nearly 5 seconds in the lead now is Apache at 4.7, and it's getting more. And this is unbelievable. Grenster's gap to Old Man Stew is staying the same. Old Man Stew's still flying around the track. He's still using those mediums to an unbelievable advantage. Grenster's still putting in the time, and Capitan Jinx, this is absolutely phenomenal. But I have to say, so far, it's between Apache and Mia Skinner for stars of the show. What a piece of driving we've just seen. And Mia Skinner getting the lead of the race on the very first lap of the very first race with these guys is unbelievable. And now a 4-second gap ahead of Scooby. Scooby did go off the track, did come back on now, and that's given Mihai a slight chance. There is still a 13-second gap, but Mihai's going to be looking behind, because you'll see in the distance there, Eddie Catflap. And round comes Eddie Catflap with a 9-second buffer ahead of Damo. So he, again, the cuppa's coming out. Then we'll go through. So Grandpa Gary, again, it's going to be interesting to see after what happened with Grandpa Gary and Eddie Catflap. Was it handbags? Was it friendship? Was it why there was yellow flags? We'll have to wait and see. But either way, they're both putting on a good performance now. Very entertaining driving from the two. And remember, every position in this race is worth points all the way through the grid. So no matter where you are, the race is never over. Scooby now 5 seconds. Mia's closing the gap on Capitan Jinx now. It's less than 3 seconds. It's 2.6. It's 2.5. Wow, this gap is closing quite rapidly, actually, now that I'm starting to pay attention. 2.5 seconds now, the gap, and that's where we see Apache coming into the pits, and Old Man Stew follows him. Old Man Stew follows him, thinks that Apache might have the benefit of the undercut, and he didn't want that, so he's gone straight in after him, because he knows with those tyres, the overcut is never going to work. But that means from the back of the grid, Grenster is back in the lead of the race, what we're used to seeing, but this race from back to front. What a performance this is from Grenster as well. It just shows that sometimes consistency is king, and it's an unbelievable performance by everyone so far. And now the way they've come out of the pit, now this is exciting. Because Capitan Jinx is 1 second behind Apache after that pit stop. Apache's on fresh mediums, and he's 6 seconds behind Grenster. But Grenster's hards are starting to wear out now, so he's still got a lot of life in them, but nowhere near enough for Apache. And the thing is as well, he's going to have to be careful, because Apache's come out on the medium tyres again, which means there is still another stint. And if he can do 12 and 12, 24, that's 6 laps on the softs at the end of the race. And on those 6 laps, when the fuel tank's empty, it's going to be white lightning. It's going to be unbelievable. And the gap is getting closer to Grenster now, and it's just getting more and more exciting. How long can Grenster stretch out these hard tyres? Because within the last 5 or 6 laps, Apache is going to be faster than ever. And now Mia is right behind Capitan, just a second there, but just stuck right behind that, less than a second and a half, 1.1 seconds behind Capitan Jinx as they come up towards Spoon. And the gap is now 3/4 of a second. So we're going to ride on board with Mia Skinner now. Looking ahead, we can see Capitan Jinx. He wants to break that slipstream, but he doesn't want to weave and cause any problems. But he knows that Mia Skinner is going to be getting dragged up along behind him. And then again, and again, that technique we've seen, showing the inside, threatening the move, getting straight back on the racing line, not to lose much time. But Capitan Jinx, he's been there, he's done that, and he's been driving with the likes of Apache and Grenster for a long time. So it's going to take more than psychological warfare for Mia Skinner to get past here. It's going to take skill, it's going to take grit and determination. But that gap is getting smaller. It's less than 3/10 now, coming into the first turn. Showing the inside, Capitan Jinx, wise do it again, coming round, but Mia Skinner stuck to the back of his bumper like glue. And as they come weaving through the S's now, you can see Capitan Jinx taking that defensive line. Mia's going round the outside, oh no, showing the outside, Capitan Jinx, but then she's going to come out wide here, and we'll expect a cutback. Oh, and Capitan Jinx, oh! He's defended that so well, but he's just lost the back end, and it's given Mia the chance to get through into third place. And on the fresher tyre, now, can Mia pressure Apache? Can Mia go fast enough to close that gap? All the while knowing Capitan Jinx is right behind, but those hard tyres of Capitan Jinx are starting to suffer a little bit now. Which makes you realise and makes you wonder how Apache managed to make his medium tyres last as long as he did. It's just a phenomenal performance all round. But now we'll go forward. Apache's closing the gap. 2 seconds is the gap now out front to Grenster. And this is the battle we've been waiting for since Suzuka last year. This was the on-track rivalry. Last time there was the league, we did the test in Spa, and after 30 laps, they were neck and neck, and it was only the slightest mistake that Grenster that separated them. And now Apache has a tyre advantage, and now he's less than 2 seconds behind, and he's setting faster sector times. What a race this is, and he's gone through, he's flying through there again. If he didn't lift going through that corner with worn mediums, he's not going to do it on fresh mediums. Now, as Grenster comes down, he's going to have eyes in the back of his head, because it's 1 1/4 second now, and Apache's taking that inside line, making the track as short as he can in order to make the space, to get the space going down here. And he's just set a fastest lap. Grenster's going to be aware of that. The lap that he's just put in is faster, and now he's always within a second as they come round. Got to hold it together. He knows Grenster's tyres are going to start to suffer, but he also knows that Grenster is so calm and collected that it won't affect him if he can just keep it on the track. But he knows what's happening now, and he can see, you can hear the tyre squeak. Apache is pushing, and here we go. Here's the battle. This is what we've been waiting for. Apache versus Grenster, and Grenster, he's defending well. He doesn't want to defend too hard because he doesn't want to waste too much time of his own, but he's not just going to stand by and let Apache go through. This is unbelievable. So now on board with Apache, looking right at the bumper of Grenster. He's looking down the inside. He knows he's went for the move on Old Man Stu and Degner too, but Grenster's going to cover that off. Grenster defends that unbelievably. But what a run out of that corner. Apache now looking up the inside. Hasn't got the space, but he's got his nose along there enough, and he's just going to be able to space it. Oh! Grenster defending, Apache taking the wide line. He's going to stay on the outside, though. He's not going to cut back. He knows he's got the traction advantage, and he's done it. He's absolutely done it out of the hairpin. He's got his foot down, and now look at Grenster. Grenster's just going to want to sit him behind. He's probably not going to pressure Apache too much, but I've said that now, and I could be wrong. Apache defending the inside, going into Spoon. Grenster holding the line as they come through. Grenster's got a good run here. He should get... Oh, Apache! Apache's nearly spun. He's holding around the outside and he's lost it. And now Grenster's got the run and he's back in first place. Grenster's back in the lead of the race. Oh my God, I'm getting kicked out for noise complaints. And here we go. We know that Apache's going through here quick, but we know... Oh, he's just got a little bit wide. He's got caught in the dirty air there, but he's held it together and he's late on the brakes. Oh, he's just had to go to the inside there, otherwise he might have gone into the back. That was a tight squeeze there. There we go. Some Grenster's now in the slipstream. I'm just looking there. It's hard racing. But Grenster, not wasting any time about it. There we go, and there's Apache's move. This is something we discussed beforehand about breaking the slipstream and defending, and he's done a very good job of it there. But now Grenster goes a little bit wide so that he can cut back. And all the while this battle has been going on, they've actually distanced the gap slightly from Mia, who's driving very, very well. But it shows that the quality of Grenster and Apache now, they are fighting, they're battling, and they are still not losing time. In fact, I was going to say that it's been the odd. Apache's really pushed it because it's been the odd time he's had a little bit of a slide, and that has cost him a little bit of time. But now that gap's almost 2 seconds, this is where Grenster's going to be thinking, right, Apache's got to pit again in front of him. He's got to do it, but he knows he's coming out on soft. Oh, Grenster's had a little bit of a wobble coming under the bridge there. But now, so as we move back there, I thought I was going to be able to catch my breath, but I'm not, because Capitan Jinx now, within 2 seconds of Mia Skinner ahead, but he is only 1.7 seconds ahead of Old Man Stew. And what a turn of events that was. When Old Man Stew followed Apache into the pit lane, the way they came out into traffic, now Old Man Stew in 5th place. What a race. So now get a chance to come back through the grid. Everyone near the back starting to spread out a little bit. Now it's starting to show different pit strategies. Grandpa Gary has front and rear damage. So it'll be interesting to look at the replays after and see what might have just happened there. But with that front and rear damage, he's just gone straight past the pit lane and he just doesn't care. He's just taking it on either. Grit and determination. Eddie Cathcart doesn't have damage, and he's now on the hard tyre. So Eddie Cathcart's looking towards the end now. This is the kind of distance in a race where those hard tyres will last. Although we've seen Apache, he made medium tyres last 12 laps. And at the minute, I'm flicking through, sorry for giving everyone busy spells. 16 laps into the race, Grenster's still on the hard tyres, and he's still got life in them tyres yet as well. So it'll be interesting to see how far he's going to push those hards, knowing that Apache ahead of him is going to be coming out on softs after his next pit stop. So now as we come round, Grenster just sliding a little bit late in the dirty air of Last Taco Bender. And Last Taco Bender's not in his way at the minute, but that dirty air is going to be affecting Grenster. And as they come through, he's going to, yes, and that's good. He stays off the racing line, lets him pass before the Degner curves, because the Degner curve would be a horrible place to try to let someone through. Very well played there by the Last Taco Bender, clearly showing that he knows the road etiquette of the road, and it gives Grenster a chance not to lose any time and to get back down as we see him now come into the hairpin. Mia Skinner now 5 seconds behind Grenster, also coming up to the back of Last Taco Bender. Capitan Jinx, Old Man Stew, I missed that one. 1.38 seconds ahead is Old Man Stew now. Old Man Stew on fresh hard tyres, so he is going to the end. But we've got Capitan Jinx yet to stop. We're on the hard tyre, and they're on. Who's that off the track? Don't go back on the track. Oh! And it's the Last Taco Bender just going off the spin there, maybe trying to avoid, because I know that Mia Skinner was going through there, was trying to get through past the Last Taco Bender. So maybe he's took evasive action, which again, credit to him for doing so. But now we're looking at Capitan Jinx view. We've got Old Man Stew not far ahead, but it looks like Capitan Jinx did put a lot of effort into defending and attacking at the start of the race. Has that taken too much of a toll on those hard tyres? 16 laps in, hey, just starting to lose it a little bit, but we've seen this before from Capitan Jinx in the past. We've seen Capitan Jinx basically driving on the rims, staying on the track, and the strategy coming good in the end. So that'll be an interesting one to follow throughout as well. Apache though now 8 seconds adrift, 8 seconds in the lead. But Grenster nearly just under 4 seconds ahead of Mia Skinner. Grenster did start last. Like, can we just take a second to... Grenster started last place, and he's done all of this on the hard tyres, and still looking after him, still doing very well. Now we've got Apache though at the front. His last lap was a 10th off his fastest lap, which was the one before that, so as the fuel starts to burn out of the car, he's just getting faster and faster, and this is unbelievable performance. Going back through the grid for just about everyone. Capitan Jinx now within a second of Old Man Stew. Old Man Stew's fresh pair. Capitan Jinx certainly his best sector time there as well, despite the tyre wear. Then further back down the grid, we've got Mihai. Mihai having that very unfortunate spin at the start, going off the track, and ended up being plumb last, which again, we've seen Mihai come from the back all the way through. Did have to pick, oh, commentator's curse. Just got his foot down a little bit too quickly on those worn mediums, had a bit of a wobble, nearly went up, managed to hold it together. That does let Scooby increase that gap ahead by a few tenths, in fact by a second, so that's something. Old Man Stew now really getting his head down. He knows he hasn't got another pit stop to make. He knows he just needs to keep putting in these times. They don't have to be blisteringly fast. They don't have to be perfect. They just need to be consistent. They just need to be correct. Now the gap from Mia to Grenster, that's now down to 3.2 seconds. So it looks like Mia's starting to close on Grenster. Then medium tyres again. Mia doing very, very well with those medium tyres. And for Mia to have already been in the position that she's in as well, an absolute wonder performance so far it is by Mia Skinner. Welcome to the Ftwrc. And there's Eddie Catlap coming around Casio Triangle. He loves a Casio because he doesn't know how to tell the time. Grandpa Gary coming around as he rounds the Degners. He had a rough start to his Ftwrc career with Grandpa Gary, unfortunately. Having to pit a couple of times, picking up damage. Has just put in his fastest sector time though. That's the opposite of the curse of the commentator. I look at him and he starts doing well. He takes a tight line round there as well, so this could be Grandpa Gary's quickest lap. He's put a couple of good ones in. There's a 205 and a 206 there, which are on par with some people's qualifying times. So you know he's got the ability to go that quick. You know he has. He just needs to get his head down and slowly start closing the gap. Grenster's 13 seconds in the lead. Like I look away for 30 seconds. What a performance, man. And now we see Grenster coming through Casio Triangle as well. As he comes down, taking a tight line. Still not pitting, still comfortable with those tyres that he's got. But now, Mia is within 2 seconds of Grenster now. And Mia's tyres, there's more life in them. And the mediums. So although Grenster still has to pit, this could be an opportunity for Mia Skinner to take position on track before the pit is even made. Old Man Stew pulling away from Capitan Jinx a little bit now, really making the most of that tyre advantage as he comes through the S's, feeling his car, feeling the weight from right to left to right to left, trying to keep it balanced, doesn't want that back end to get thrown out. He's doing a very good job of it here, keeping it all very consistent, very smooth. As he comes up now, not being too harsh on the accelerator, making sure he's got his car in a straight line before he puts the power down and round the Dunlop curve he goes up towards Degner. Mia Skinner 1.2 seconds adrift from Grenster now, who Apache 16 seconds. Oh, he's pushing a little bit hard as he goes round Spoon there. But now, as Mia and Grenster approach Spoon for the 19th time, it looks like, yes, Mia has now dropped the gap to beneath a second. If Mia can get the car straightened up here, she's going to have the benefit of the slipstream all the way down this straight into 130R. So we're going to sit on board with Mia Skinner for now, because you can see in the background that gap is closing. And Grenster, he won't be going slow, but he won't be going as fast as he can through there because those hard tyres aren't designed for taking 130 off flat out. And Grenster still staying out. He's extending the stint on those tyres. And 10 laps from the end, there's something tells me Grenster's extending this stint so he can come out on soft tyres. And if that's the case, Apache's 17 seconds in the lead though, but Apache still needs another pit stop. Grenster needs another pit stop. So if that is the case, now although Mir is 7/10 behind, if Grenster can keep Mir behind of him up until his pit stop, it means all of the gap that he loses beforehand in clean air, he's going to be able to make up on the soft tyres, because if he was able to put a clean qualifying lap in, he would have been up there in the top 3 or 4. But Mia Skinner has earned every right to be where she is in this race right now. And now it's half a second gap coming into Degner. And she's really putting these tyres to good use. And now it's a third of a second now. Really good pressure is being put on by Mia Skinner here. Going in towards now the hairpin. And Grenster is going to have eyes in the back of her head. He's had a little bit of a wobble there, just touched the grass, and he's gone wide. And he's got the power down. But now Mia Skinner right in the slipstream, coming up towards Spoon. It'll be interesting to see if in any defence that gets put up by Grenster or whether he's going to make this a hard time. He knows Mia Skinner's tyres are medium. He knows the start and the way. He knows that the longer he can keep her behind, the worse her tyres get, the more chance he's got of catching up when he comes out the pit on soft. But Mia knows if she can get past him now, there's probably not much chance of Grenster being able to use the pace to catch up to Mia. And he will have to rely on clean air, on soft tyres. So this really is now a battle of wits. This doesn't just come down to who's the better driver, it's who knows racing more. And now Grenster coming through, lifting to avoid the dirty air. Mia turning into the corner a little bit early there to avoid going wide. Unbelievable awareness. Still, this stint is getting extended by Grenster. We've seen it before. Half a second is the gap now from Mia Skinner. And the pace that they're going, that means there is a 6-second gap. But Old Man Stu, 7 seconds. He's pulling out seconds and seconds over. So he knows, when you look at it now, Grenster has to pit. Mia may not. Mia might be able to extend the stint and stay on these medium tyres, but it's very unlikely. However, Grenster needs to pit, so Old Man Stu now just needs to keep everything tidy so he knows that when Grenster comes out of the pit, Old Man Stu sees it in his mirrors, not out of the windscreen. But moving forward again now, Mia 2/10 behind Grenster. And looking back now, number 86 there of Mia Skinner getting ever closer. Now coming round under the bridge and now going towards the hairpin. Mia Skinner just looking there. They're very well defended, but Mia takes a wide line to try to get the power down a bit earlier. Grenster's wheel spin on the back, didn't quite get the traction there, but he's managed to get his foot down there now. But now looking back, Mia Skinner is again right up behind Grenster. She is not letting him off the hook whatsoever. Even when she makes a little bit of a mistake in a wheel spin, it doesn't matter because she just claws back at Grenster, who has to take a little bit of a wide line, but his exit out of Spoon's going to be a little bit better as a result, as long as he doesn't go too wide, which he hasn't. But now that means it's very important for Mia to stick in the slipstream here, because otherwise Grenster's going to start edging away. And all the while, Mia's tyres are beginning to deteriorate now. Grenster knows the dirty air is not doing the tyres behind any good as they both go bouncing through 130 or as they come to Casio Triangle. Great defensive positioning from Grenster there. It was probably never going to be the space to get there, but why take the risk with someone as good as what Mia is proving to be? And that's it. Grenster peels into the pits. So Mia Skinner is now second, 22 seconds behind Apache. And now with 8 or 9 laps left after this, it's going to be interesting. I think Grenster's going to be coming out on the soft. Don't think he's going to be coming out on medium for less than 10 laps. I've been wrong before, once. So now, that's Old Man Stu. Old Man Stu back up in the third place now. His hards have got more than enough life to keep him going. and he's less than 6 seconds, but he's just had to lift off there. He's just had to come out with the throttle to make sure that he gets through the S's nicely. As he comes around, keeping a tidy line because he's going to want to set up his exit, going through the Dunlop curve nicely. Just yet, and then he puts down, and he's going to want to make sure it's down the whole way around because he knows that Mia has got clean air ahead of her now. So whether Mia needs to have another pit stop or not, it's irrelevant because the clean air. Old Man Stu could pull this off if Mia does need to pit again, which these tyres, it is possible to make these tyres last. Like Apache's doing it. So Mia could well be going to the end of the race here. And looking at the way that Mia's been driving so far, I think Mia is well capable of doing it. But Old Man Stu, his tyres are in better condition. His mindset now, he's also in clean air. And he's going to want to close this gap because he also knows that now on track behind him, 11 seconds behind Old Man Stu, is Grenster coming flying out the blocks on soft tyres. So that 11 seconds over 8 laps is nothing when you consider how quick soft tyres are. This is unbelievable strategy from Grenster to manage to get this far up and then remain there after his pit stop. 6 seconds between Old Man Stu and Mia. So now Mia's now going to have to start thinking not about Old Man Stu as well, also thinking about Grenster, because 10 seconds of trip, 15 seconds gap is between Mia and Grenster. 15 seconds. He's 10 seconds down the road from Old Man Stu. So again, if your tyres are worn out and you've got someone like Grenster flying around the track on soft tyres, you want to hope that you don't make a mistake, because now, but just skipping through to the front, just to give him a little bit of airtime, Apache coming through there, 25 seconds in the lead after 23 laps, and his lap times are phenomenal. And speaking of lap time, let's bear in mind that he's done 2 stints on mediums. That means he must pit again and change tyres. So when he comes out on the softs, it's going to be lightning. But like I say, looking at the pit time in Suzuka, it's going to be close coming out on the soft tyres with Mia Skinner and Old Man Stu. He's going to have the tyre advantage, but it's going to be very close, and it means a battle may ensue. But what he also has to remember is Grenster has already closed over a second on Old Man Stu. He's just set his best sector time. Old Man Stu going well here as well. It's very, very quick times up at the front. And this is, for me, this is what I really like about commentating, about explaining. On the surface, it looks like there's nothing going on because there's 5, 6, 7 seconds between each car. But actually, these people are racing. These are battling with each other. They're just on different parts of the track while they do it. And Apache's coming in. Apache's coming in now. So as we follow through, Mia now coming up to Casio Triangle. So as Mia swoops down, Mia's coming in as well. Mia's coming in to put soft tyres on as well. So this does set up an exciting. But because of this pit stop, Apache's just coming out of the pit lane. But Old Man Stu's just coming down the pit straight. What an end to the race is building here. But I feel Old Man Stu, he's capable of miracles. But to catch Apache now that he's on soft tyres would be miraculous. Biblical proportions. Now, speaking of someone you should never use the word biblical with, is any calf flap. As he now comes through Spoon, he can see Demo ahead of him, 16 seconds, but he's going to have eyes in the back of his head because Mihai's not far behind him, only 4, but Mihai's nursing front damage, and those tyres need to come off. So actually, blasphemy, Eddie, I apologise. You get your head down. So that, Mia's got a pit lane penalty. Moving back forward. Mia's got a 3-second pit lane penalty. And Capitan Jinx is on the soft tyres, 16 seconds behind. But the way Mia's been driving with the soft tyres on now, Mia should be able to increase that gap. But the position of the penalty line is not very nice round here. But now, the exciting thing is we've got Apache 12 seconds in the lead on softs. Old Man Stew in second on hards, but less than 5 seconds behind him now is Grenster on the soft tyre. So going into the last 6 laps, Capitan Jinx is on the soft tyres and he's setting his best fast. He's setting, I can't even talk, this is far too exciting even for me. So now this is interesting. As we go back, Grandpa Gary, he might feel that behind, but Grandpa Gary is right on the tail of Eddie Catflap. As you can see Eddie taking a good line through there, but if we just go on board with Eddie and look back, there's Grandpa Gary not far behind. So Eddie's going to be looking in his mirrors now. He's going to be looking back, seeing Grandpa Gary. He's going to be forgetting that he's being that because he just wants to beat him. But Eddie Catflap having a good race here, considering he's had to pit, considering he had a bit of a wobble, and considering he is in the same position that he started, I believe, if not a position higher, and he didn't start in reverse. Excellent performance. I'm sure there's a lot of people, he's got a lot of supporters on his YouTube channel as well. Hop over there, Eddie Catflap Racing. Always a good laugh. Great bunch of people in his chat, and he's always very funny, especially when racing in America. So as he comes flying down the straight there, we'll skip forward a bit to Scooby, who's now 5 seconds ahead of Damo, 12 seconds behind Capitan Jinx. Capitan Jinx is flying. Now, Mia served that penalty slack gap, has dropped 10 seconds behind now, but Mia has just put in a faster sector as well. Grenster, Grenster's a second and a half behind Old Man Stewart. Didn't see that one. So as they come round a hairpin now, the 25th time. And they're so going to go on board now. We're on board with Grenster. And Old Man Stew just ahead there. Old Man Stew knows the tyres behind us up, but Old Man Stew's got life in the hard. It's not like he's on dead hard tyres. But he knows Grenster's on pretty fresh softs. So as they come in now, and that's the thing. Old Man Stew, as he goes round there, Grenster, getting caught in the dirt here, going a little bit wide. Should be all right though, but that's what I was going to say. Old Man Stew's going to have to lift a bit through there, but he knows given the chance, Grenster would be going through there flat out now. He's on soft tyres, so it's very well done. He's had a little bit of a spin there as well. Now you can really see the pressure on Old Man Stew. Every corner he's trying to get out as quick as he can, and on some of them he's just spinning up the wheels. And I like what he's doing there. He's just lifting up. He's given that position up without defending too heavy. He doesn't need to be slowed down because he knows behind on soft tyres Mia Skinner as well. And that is very clever driving from Old Man Stew. There is no need to hold up Grenster and himself in the process and risk his third position because that could potentially take him out. But Grenster's got a little bit wide, but he's managed to keep it together. And like I said, Old Man Stew, very clever here, thinking about his position on the podium, not his position on the track. Very clever driving. Now Apache, 19 seconds in the lead on the soft tyres. His last lap was the fastest. It was 3/10 under 2 minutes, and now he's got the last tackle fender in front of him. He's going to be using a bit of that slipstream. Tackle fender's gone off track there. You've got to be careful not to give a yellow flag, but that's all right. And so now on board with Apache. Looking at Apache's actually coming up into the spoon. He's going to be pushing for every single, but also know as well, Grenster's going to be wanting the fastest lap if he can get it. His fastest lap was the 24th. It was 2 minutes 0.5. But Apache's fastest lap is nearly a second quicker than that. Apache really is flying now. Going through. So now on board with Mia. 11 seconds adrift of Old Man Stew now, who really is just focusing on his race, which is exactly what he needs to do. He's not getting bogged down by Grenster. He's on much faster, fresher tyres. He's now clean air, doing everything he can to make sure that that gap doesn't disappear behind him. Because on soft tyres, Mia's shown how capable she is behind the wheel and how much she knows this track and how clever Mia is when she's going into battle with another driver. So Old Man Stew is going to just be wanting to hit every apex, make sure he doesn't unsettle the car too much, he doesn't put too much unnecessary pressure through the tyres, because it all could come down to a final lap shootout if Mia plays her cards right. However, Old Man Stu at the minute doing a very good job of not allowing that gap to get any smaller. Now, after the pit stop, looking back, Eddie Catlap, he's now got Grandpa Gary in his sights. You can see him not far ahead. And he's going to be licking his lips because he's going to be wanting to take that position up. But Gary's going to want to defend. Gary's going to want to be holding him back because why wouldn't he? No, but I'm trying to create a battle here because Eddie Catlap is an exciting person to watch. He's an exciting driver to be on board with, and that's what we are doing right now. And you can see Grandpa Gary up ahead. And I know what these people are like. Grandpa Gary is getting the blue flag, so he's going to allow him to go past. But right now, I can hear the chat now. Don't let him past! Don't let him past! Oh, but he has. Well done, Eddie Catlap. You're doing very well. The position that you started in without reversing off the grid. Another fantastic performance. Can't wait for the rest of the season with you involved. 22 seconds is the lead for Apache now, though. Now all the drivers looking through, a lot of the drivers, not Old Man Stu. Old Man Stu has got plenty of fuel left. His fuel light's not flashing, but a lot of drivers on the grid now, whose fuel lights are starting to flash. There's still 3 laps of this race left to go, so hopefully everyone's fueled up enough. Mia's closed the gap now by 2 seconds. Again, Grenster putting in some very competitive times here, and compared to just about anyone else flying, but then Apache up at the top there, 23 seconds in the lead. That is very, very slowly coming down, 100 by 100, which does mean a lot, but over the course of 3 laps, because now we're into the final 3 laps. Mia 8.5 seconds behind Old Man Stu now, so Mia really wants to be hoping that she does not put a foot wrong, because if Mia doesn't make a mistake, if Mia just focuses on using the best of them soft tyres, then all it's going to take is one slip up by Old Man Stu, one little mistake, and she could be in with a chance. But Old Man Stu knows that, and he just knows as long as he doesn't make those mistakes, and as long as he does what he knows he can, that gap shouldn't close anywhere near enough to threaten his podium position. And what a podium position it would be for Old Man Stu. Demo coming into the pits. Tyres are a bit worn. Fuel lights flashed. I think he probably would have had enough fuel. Tyres are quite worn, but it looks like he might just be coming in. Or to be on the safe side. Mihai now flying down. I was going to say, Mihai getting blue flags, but of course he is, because Apache is absolutely flying. So now coming into Casio Triangle, Apache is now within a second of Mihai, but Mihai is a lap down, and Mihai is a phenomenal driver. This is no knock on Mihai. This just shows the absolute quality of the work Apache is doing here, that he can be so close behind Mihai while being in first place. Unbelievable. Now, speaking of quick, Grenster, 7 seconds is the gap that he's pulled out over Old Man Stu. Oh, but the gap behind Old Man Stu and Mia is now 5 seconds. Mia's going to be pushing because those softs still have life in them. Softs are still worth pushing. What a finale this is setting up. The penultimate lap. Mia's on a penultimate lap. 5 seconds behind Old Man Stu. That's more than 2.5 seconds per lap that Mia would have to gain. So that just means that's 2.5 seconds per lap. Old Man Stu can't afford to give away. Now, Mihai 23 seconds off the pit behind Demo, so he's not going to be catching him, but be able to use the slipstream of Apache in front of him in order to get just a bit more lap times. Fastest lap is an extra point regardless of what place you finish. However, if there is anyone who could beat Apache's time, considering that was around about the qualifying time, it would be unbelievable. And then looking through Eddie Carflap, looking at Eddie Carflap, sounds very consistent. So a very good race from Eddie Carflap, driving his own race. And like I said, he hasn't lost any positions off the start. Grandpa Gary now getting blue flags. Who is it that's coming flying up behind him? It's Grenster. So Grenster's going to be using that slipstream all the way coming up towards 130R, but he doesn't have to get out of the way just yet. I would imagine just coming into Casio Triangle. Oh, Gary's just had a little bit of a wobble there. And then now the blue flags are waving for Grandpa Gary because Grenster's just about to start his final lap, and that's well played there by Gary. So as Grenster crosses the line at the beginning of his final lap, the gap between Mia and Old Man Stu is less than 3 seconds. Mia's managed to close the amount of time she needed over one lap, and now what she can do it again, we could be on for a sprint to the line between Mia Skinner and Old Man Stu, which would be phenomenal considering how close qualifying was, considering the differences in pit strategies. For this to be so close coming into the final lap of the race is an absolute testament to the quality of the people who are playing this game right now. Oh. Oh, I'm just going board of the battery there, just putting these coming out. It's always sketchy coming out of the hairpin, putting your foot down. You do get a lot of movement in the back end. But now, as Apache approaches Spoon for the final time, as he comes round, he's going to be pushing it down this straight. He's not going to push too much out of this corner. And as we flick back now, I'm going to go on board with Old Man Stu and look backwards. And yes, that is right. Less than 1.5 seconds behind. That is Mia Skinner. That is Mia pushing on soft tires. Unbelievable. So as this is happening, it must be said, coming round the final corner now to take the checkered flag, he's flashing the lights, he's waving along. The winner of the first Ftwrc race of the season is Apache. What a performance that was from him. What an unbelievable start to the season. Absolutely phenomenal. But unfortunately, we haven't got time to bask in that for too long because Old Man Stu is now only 3/10 ahead of Mia Skinner coming into Casio Triangle. He's not going to be too risky to make a move there, but it's going to all come out. Old Man Stu took a lot of curve there. Old Man Stu took a lot of curve there. He took a penalty. Old Man Stu took a half a second penalty. Mia Skinner just needs to cross the line within a second of Old Man Stu. Oh my word, Mia Skinner takes the podium position because of the pressure under. Old Man Stu bounced over the final chicane, getting half a second penalty, giving Mia Skinner his position on the podium. Oh my word, I cannot believe what I've just seen. Oh, and then coming back, Capitan Jinx crosses the line in fifth. Scooby 20 seconds behind in Demo there. Eddie Clapback crosses the line. I can't even talk. Oh my word, what an end to the race that was. What an unbelievable evening of racing this has been, man. Oh, if this isn't worth going into the description, clicking on the GoFundMe link and donating your entire month's wage to charity in order to get this race on. Come on, man, what an unbelievable night this has been. Apache absolutely flawless in his technique. Grenster coming from the back of the pack all the way through. For Mia Skinner to do what she just did and close 10 seconds on Old Man Stu, forcing him into that tiniest mistake on the final corner to give up his podium position. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.